Go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ian and Kyle FixTheChat.com or Mangle the English Language or whatever. What, you're showing it off?
That's
already?
Right. No, I wouldn't say I'm shy. It's just sitting there. No cause for alarm. It's just sitting there.
So sorry we were off last week. Kyle was sick.
I was. It was no fun.
And reminder, well, actually, we didn't actually resolve this. Next week was supposed to be the first week that we would not be available because of a bunch of conflicts on both of our parts. However, the conflict on my part is a wrap party for Minecraft that's supposed to wrap up at like 8:30. So, while we couldn't stream on time that day, it's possible we could start streaming at like 9 or 9:30 and try to get a couple games in, if you guys are interested.
It's not off the table.
Yeah. Just for the sake of trying to do it because we're going to be off for a while. So that may be an option. The following week, Kyle's mom's in town, so we will not be streaming, most likely. And then the week after that, I'll be streaming for Extra Life. You should support my Extra Life fundraising. It's for sick kids in the Bay Area.
I recommend it.
Link is in the Twitch description and in the description of this YouTube video. I'm raising money for sick kids, and then me and my company will be streaming 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday, November 3rd. That's in 3 weeks. And on Saturday, November 4th. 12 hours of streaming both days, 24 hours of streaming total. So come watch us at a minimum, if you can, if you're interested.
Yep.
And again, check out the links because I'm trying to raise money for the kids, and even a little donation helps. Like $5 is plenty. If a lot of people give me $5, it goes a long way.
It does. And who doesn't like kids? Crazy people and assholes, that's who.
Whoa. PG stream, Kyle.
Assholes is PG.
What about the sick kids that are watching us right now?
Touche.
So speaking of YouTube, I'm a little behind on... where's our chat? I hid the chat.
You should fix that.
I'm going to fix the chat.
Fix the chat.
I'm a little behind on... uploading our videos to YouTube. 2 weeks only, because we missed last week.
Right.
But part of that is our stream from 3 weeks ago was so very bad in terms of the quality of the cards. Not the quality, the what is it? What would you call that? Like,
I don't know. 2 weeks ago? Or
this
was the 3 weeks ago. Oh, that one
was really bad.
That was the.
So I have a mental block about reviewing that.
Yeah. It'll force you to remember too much.
It was such a bad experience.
Yeah.
Perfectly reasonable streaming and perfectly reasonable execution, but not pleasant.
Well, maybe if we have a really good night tonight, it'll motivate you to get through the dark and stormy night that was that one stream.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. So I'm a little behind. I will try to catch up. We can talk a little bit about board games, we can talk a little bit about video games, and then we can jump in because we started a little late tonight. Kyle, what do you have on the table here? I think you have something you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to remove this bottom item. That's gratuitous. I do have Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite here, which I have not played yet, but I couldn't resist getting this wonderful Steelbook edition. I'm a real sucker for Steelbooks. Part of me wishes all games were packaged in Steelbooks because they're heavier, but they just feel like you're holding something of high value.
They're expensive, though.
That's true.
Average Joe consumer probably wouldn't like that. This is actually apropos because Chris, on our sister stream, what's the stream called? Nostalgia Time. Our sister stream, Nostalgia Time, as hosted by our buddy Chris, who is in our chat right now.
Yes.
He streamed Mega Man X last night.
Oh, yeah. And the villain of this game is a hybrid of Ultron and Sigma.
Yeah, who is the villain for Mega Man X.
That's right. And Ultron, who is a villain of the Avengers. So, the game is interesting. I was mentioning to Ian that I did some research online about it. It got sort of middling to low reviews and was very scattered among players. And the research that I did on it indicated to me that it was really, really ugly, but the actual gameplay was decent to good depending on your tastes. So some of the things that people complained about was, it wasn't quite as hectic as the previous Marvel games. And I actually do like fast-paced games, but the the idea that this was a little bit less hectic was appealing. I really, really liked a simple example of this. Is the previous Marvel vs. Capcom was a 3v3 game. And this game is a 2v2 game. And actually, that simple distinction alone was enough to pique my interest, because immediately, in any given combat, I need to know 50% less information to engage in combat. It's hard to learn a character in a fighting game. It's harder to learn two characters. It's harder to learn two characters that need to work well together. But when you throw a third character in the mix, the permutation count about how those characters interact, it really, really increases the knowledge gap. And we've talked a little bit about the knowledge gap in the stream in the past, but for somebody who no longer has infinite time to learn games and mechanics and so forth.
I want to point out the irony that Kyle is about to talk about how he's going to start playing
Marvel
vs. Capcom Infinite with his lack of infinite time.
Yeah.
I hear it never ends.
It is the game that never ends. I mean, a good fighting game never really ends. But just the idea that, like, there's a little bit less to learn for me to start playing the game at a competent level is enticing to me. MVC3, which I did enjoy, I did play it, had some fun, was really, really hard to learn, because you have to learn at minimum 3 characters, or you're just button mashing on some percentage of them. And I don't mind. I like it when, you can push a button and get a result, and it still feels good. And MVC3 did have a little of that, and I liked their control scheme fairly well. It, I think, a pretty good streamlined control scheme. But still, they did have that requirement of basically understanding 3 characters to even play at a low level. And this one has reduced that number to 2. There's a few other mechanics that are moderately interesting. You select an Infinity Stone, or Infinity Gem, as they were called prior to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the Infinity Gem you select, gives you some extra powers, and it's a nice little layer that doesn't super overcomplicate things. But anyway, long story short, some of the mechanics sounded good. I liked the slight reduction in chaos, albeit it's still by far the fastest paced, craziest fighting game out there, I think, generally speaking. Outside of, you could probably make a case that some of the more brawler-oriented ones, like a Smash Brothers, would actually be more chaotic, but generally speaking, this one's probably the fastest-paced one out there still, but notably less crazy than the last installment. And that appeals to me, and I like superheroes and stuff.
Well, you'll see. You're basing this on stuff.
And watched, in my defense. Some of it's based on footage of the game and watching people battle each other.
I will say, my 2 cents, which will be brief, is I haven't heard good things.
Sure.
And I need to be careful what I say, because, I do sometimes work with Capcom. So they are good buddies of mine. But I've not heard very good things about this game, and the collector's edition was a fiasco. I can't let them get off the hook for that. That was so bad.
It was a fiasco. I don't actually know what happened. Can you say anything about that? Just what it was?
Well, no. I mean, it's public knowledge, and they've been berated in the press quite a bit for it. But they had a collector's edition that came with a bunch of a couple of statues in a steelbook and a big case, and what was supposed to be a box containing the Infinity Gems, and they had this art mocked up, and it was like really nice, high quality, box and transparent gems that lit up in the background. And what they sent people looked like a box of Easter eggs, like plastic children's Easter eggs. It was pretty bad, and you couldn't take them out of the box, and everybody was mad about that too. So.
They're just Easter eggs stuck in a box.
Yep.
I feel like I can't comment on that in a way that would improve the image that is already in my mind.
Excellent. Hey, are you still with us, chat? It's been quiet. I'm worried about because we're early in the stream. I'm worried we have issues of some sort. Just say something if you can hear us. I will move on to talking about the video games I've been playing recently, which I mentioned briefly on our last stream 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
That I had started playing, or intended. I may have intended to start playing both of these games.
Yeah.
And the first was Cuphead.
Yeah.
And that's a really solid game. I recommend Cuphead. I played through it. I played through it in a couple of days. People are complaining a ton about the difficulty, but I think they're missing the point. I think it has an appropriate level of difficulty, and I don't want to undersell it. It's by no means an easy game.
Right.
But
appropriate doesn't mean easy.
Yeah. Very solid. Beautiful, beautiful animation.
2D animation.
2D animation, yeah.
Or a blend of 2D and 3D?
Nope, completely 2D.
Wow.
As you should know, it was.
I've seen footage. I didn't
Yeah.
know if they were faking the 2D in some ways or if it was legitimately sprites.
All of the art for Cuphead was drawn using traditional animation techniques.
Oh my god.
So, and by traditional I mean like literally
hand-drawn
what do you call those,
cells.
light tables?
Yep. Yeah.
With sketching and
Yep.
turning the pages
Yep.
and sketching
Yeah.
behind the sketch and that kind of
that's
thing.
so cool.
Which is why it took 3 years to make.
Yep.
But the result is amazingly gorgeous,
Yeah.
and it still blows my mind that these people who are obviously fans of those techniques and that style, the game looks like an animation types of animation you
Fleischer
see
Brothers,
in
yeah.
the 30s and 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Who are fans of that style said, we are fans of this style and we want to produce a lot of this content, and we think the best way to do that is a video game. That's really
Right.
weird and disconnected, but it kind of worked. And I just read today they sold 1 million copies. So
Oh, congratulations,
good for them.
Cuphead
They
developers.
sold 1 million copies on only being available on PC and Xbox. So
Wow. That is pretty impressive.
kudos to them. Very successful.
Yeah, some of the guys at work have been playing it and talking about it a little bit. I've seen a little bit of the YouTube footage, and it really is mind-blowing. I just know that, like, you know, I'll be walking by desks and people have it on in the background, as playthroughs of the game and stuff. And playthroughs aren't really my thing. I haven't watched a playthrough myself, but every time I walk by, amazingly, it's a different boss. And that's happened, like, way more times than I thought it would happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, is, like, while playing the game and knowing what went into the animation,
Right.
you keep going, you're like, how is there more to this
Right.
game? Like,
Right.
you guys are nuts. You guys are insane.
Right.
So maybe if I remember, I'll bring my laptop over on Sunday. We're
Right,
gonna hang
shut
out on
off, yeah.
Sunday, and
Yeah.
we can play around with that a little bit. So that's Cuphead. It was good, but I finished it. As a reminder, let me try in English. We're mangling English. Yay!
Oh, good times.
As a reminder, I'm trying to kill time until Etrian Odyssey 5, which comes out the middle of next week.
Right.
So game number 2.
2.
Golf Story. Golf Story is a Switch game that looks kind of like a game like Earthbound. Like, it's got 2D pixel art, retro-inspired, not very retro-styled. But you play a golfer and you interact with the world entirely using golf mechanics, and it's kind of amazing and entertaining. I mean, you walk around and you talk to people and stuff, but, there's like Zelda switches behind bushes that you have to hit with your golf ball, and at any time you can press a button and drop your golf ball and try to hit the switch with them or something like that. I wasn't sure about the game when I started, but I kept playing so very much, and then after a few hours I decided I was actually enjoying myself. It's a game that you start playing and then suddenly many hours have gone by and you go,
Right.
what the heck just happened? So unfortunately I also finished that game too. Chris got a hole-in-one on his first shot.
Wow.
That's kind of awesome. Yeah, it's a good game. I definitely recommend it. Both these games, I would give both Cuphead and Golf Story an 8 out of 10. Solid games.
yeah.
What about? I mean, I like to tell this story. Maybe very minor spoiler alert, but I did solve a murder mystery using golf. That is my explanation of what Golf Story is.
Huh. I do that all the time, but usually not in video games. So I think that's very novel.
So yeah, I'm out of stuff, unfortunately, and now I'm just kind of like watching stupid TV and stuff till Etrian Odyssey, because not really enough time to start anything.
How long
the expansion
is
to Grim Dawn just came out. I was considering playing with that,
Oh,
but I
interesting.
didn't quite have the time to get it in there.
Right.
But anyway, mid next week I should be in Etrian Odyssey, so maybe we'll talk about that next week if we in fact stream. Let's move on. That was enough video game talk.
That was good. That was good. I'm happy to move on.
We should talk about board games.
Yeah.
We did play some Ashes 2 weeks ago, and I got very, very, very mad at Ashes. I told Kyle that I would not play Ashes with him anymore.
Please.
Kyle is distracted.
I need to. I just am acquiring a paper towel. Sorry.
I said, I hate this game. I never want to play it again. I was lying, of course. I was overreacting, but I did have a very frustrating experience. So I was kind of hoping Kyle and I would stay interested in that game until we could meet up with Chris again and maybe like show him some of our decks or play some of his decks again or whatever. Which I think, you can correct me if this is wrong, Chris, would probably happen in January. That's
right.
When
Typical,
you would, time frame you would
annual,
usually be back in our area if that's still a thing you do, and I would not fault you if it is not.
Yes. It's much easier to just move to the area.
But yes, you should totally do that. By the way, I'm hiring in case anybody needs a job.
Yeah. In the Bay Area, Chris.
But I'm worried now because of the periodic. I mean, it's not every game. It's not even most games. But I do get very, very frustrated playing the game. And part of that is it was a turnabout game where Kyle made a comeback, and the comeback was, I can't say it was not impressive. It was a well-played game, but I felt like things turned against me, and then I was just stalling for many, many turns until I lost, which is not a very fun gameplay experience.
Yes, that's certainly true.
And it made me come back to and revisit one of my fundamental complaints about Ashes, which I will restate and rephrase because everybody gives me crap whenever I say it a certain way. So what I used to say is I feel like a game like Versus System, which is what we play on the stream, rewards action. And what I used to say, what people give me crap for, is that a game like Ashes and Magic rewards inaction, but everybody points out that's not quite accurate.
Right.
What it rewards is, what did I say? Building? That wasn't right.
Yeah, I mean, that's partially right. It might have been building. The idea.
I used a better term. I feel like I expressed it better last week. This is why we have to stream every week, because now I'm trying to remember things that happened 2 weeks ago.
A long time ago. Yeah, I mean, it was the concept of
building to something.
Evolution of the board state as opposed to action with the board state, I think was the distinction you were trying to make.
But the complaint I have and frequently fall back to is if you're playing a game like Versus System and you act and you fail, you at least got to act, and that's very rewarding. But if you play a game like Ashes and you're building to something and you fail, you never get to act, and that's very frustrating.
Right. There's something about that experience, and it offends you a little bit more than it offends me. But I think the idea of,
well, like I said, it doesn't always happen, but it happens enough, and it bothers me enough that I worry about it.
Right. No, and it definitely caused a point of frustration, which was sort of this idea of, sort of a, I guess I don't know how to describe it. It's like you something about the resolution of the action is not satisfying in the way that something seems decisive in Versus, maybe. Something about the way Versus's rules come together, which has always impressed me, is the sense that while all actions are building towards something, it's surprising the significance that every action you take feels as though it has. And I think in Ashes, it's not that the actions do not have value. That's certainly not true. Obviously, everything does play up to critical strikes on your opponent and so forth. Something I talk about in game design, and I actually talk to some of the more junior designers about this, is the idea of...
we are reading what you're writing, Casey, by the way. We're just not commenting on it just yet.
Is what I call tangible action, or to make sure results of action are tangible. So a simple example of...
That might be a good way to express what I'm feeling.
It could well be. Like, this is sort of an abstract example, but... Like, let's say, for example, in a game you had a bonus to your power that was a timed bonus. So you could activate this bonus and then for a limited period of time be stronger. In one scenario, you have a bonus that makes you 5% more powerful for an hour. In another scenario, you have a bonus that makes you 100% more powerful for 5 minutes. For me, the better gameplay in... My default, I'm not going to say there's never a circumstance, but my default case would be the 100% for 5 minutes as opposed to 5% for an hour. Because 5% for an hour, and again, I'm not saying this is always the case, but my default go-to is always going to be that 100% for 5 minutes, because when you act it, you're going to, you enact this bonus and you're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel that result. It's not to say there's not value to the other one. You look at RPGs, sometimes a pretty good example is like, maybe for an extended period of time I get an XP bonus, so I level up a little bit more quickly. Maybe that makes sense for the smaller bonus for an extended duration, but tangible rewards for action, tangible, not even necessarily rewards, tangible results for action. So, like, for example, when you do something wrong, I believe, negative consequences should be relatively quick and very well understood, as opposed to, like, obscure or disconnected from the original action. Again, there are exceptions to this. This is not a rule, it's a guideline. But with Ashes, because a lot of those actions build up to one larger successful play sequence, I think the tangibility of the individual actions in terms of getting that reward are not as decisive and tangible as something like Versus, where it's novel in Versus system when our characters bounce on an attack. That's novel. And so we enjoy it because it's novel, and it's never the expected outcome. It's just a novel thing. But what usually happens is, like, okay, we engage, this character wins, this character loses, or we both lose, and there's like this change in board dynamics. It's very, very strong and tangible. At the end of a brutal turn, like, the board is mostly wiped, we lose a bunch of characters, and that happens at once. There's like this moment where that all occurs. And so, for whatever reason, Versus's actions almost always feel like they get a pretty swift and decisive consequence, good or bad consequence. And I do like that a lot. And I think Ashes doesn't always have that.
Well, part of the other observation I was making, just to finish my thoughts on that one particular game, is, well, you didn't interrupt me. I didn't even introduce the second aspect of it, which is I felt like, especially in that game, and often in Ashes, which I think works to its detriment, that the amount of effort versus reward is a little off. For example, for the latter half of that game, I felt like I was playing really creatively and thinking really hard about every play and being cautious and executing well, and there's some luck element to it, the draw parts.
For sure.
But what I was playing for was to maintain the status quo and not really to turn things around. And it feels to me like a game of chess in that way. I feel Ashes and chess both, you can be in a position where if I play flawlessly and you play flawlessly, I've lost the game. However, we need to play the game for a much, much longer time in case you make a mistake and I can capitalize on it, or your draw is bad enough or your roll is bad enough that I can capitalize on it. And in that game, that opportunity just didn't present itself. So it was very frustrating to just feel like, well, I was stalemating or losing for 3 or 4 turns. But anyway, and that, again, that's not the normal experience, but it is an experience I have sometime with the game. We'll keep at it, probably. Maybe it's time we introduce the new cards, or maybe that's coming soon. I don't know. We haven't really played our decks a whole lot either.
Yeah, we haven't played them a ton.
But
we do
I won't lie to say that my interest is waning a little bit.
Maybe we'll have to consider that when we get to our weekend play session, which may or may not exist this weekend. I mean, we're getting together this weekend, but whether or not we play Ashes. It's an interesting conundrum, for sure.
I think meditating is so valuable. I think Kyle very much underestimates the value of meditating.
I also tend to not meditate
almost every turn.
You do. It's true. It's true. You do win almost every game, so maybe there is a connection there.
Okay, so he says, I'm going to try reading what he's saying instead of mangling the English language. He says at the competitive level, it's what happens. I feel compelled. I mean, I don't do it a ton, but, maybe a card or two a turn. Totally. So, any final thoughts on Ashes?
I guess the last thought I'd offer in regards to meditating, which I think is interesting, is, and this is actually a really interesting risk-reward assessment, the satisfaction of meditation, the positive outcome of meditation is known 100% of the time. You face your die the way you want. The negative is a die roll. What is the card that I'm flipping over? And
well, it doesn't always have to be. I mean, I very often meditate from my deck, but it doesn't have to be from your deck.
That's right, but there's also severe consequence for burning cards in your hand, especially in an opening hand turn where you know, your cards are precious and pre-selected to that end. So I guess while it's true that you don't have to do it from your deck, and you know there's a risk of limiting the actions you can take if you do it from your hand, I guess this kind of fits with your example. Like the positive feeling from successful meditation, I feel, is radically dwarfed by the negative feelings of a bad one, which is why I don't do it. It's like if I flip the card I needed, I know statistically it's not, you know, the likelihood of that happening versus me drawing it is identical. But the negative feel of seeing that to face a die feels like I've lost more than I've gained. And so emotionally speaking, as I often say, in that case I would say the unfun is outweighs the fun of successful meditation. So it always feels like there's a slightly positive outcome or a highly negative outcome, so I don't roll that chance very frequently. Which is why I dislike it. It's possible that's why Casey dislikes it as well.
He didn't say he disliked it.
He did say I
he hated it. He said he hated it. So yes, he did.
Strong. He didn't say dislike. He said hate. So I was being generous, but yeah, and I think there is an emotional component to it. And I think I understand also why it is SOP, standard operating procedure. I do get that. I get what it does for you. It means that a bad roll isn't a bad roll. You've got to observe me,
a pretty solid Ashes player. I mean, I win most of the games.
Seriously, yeah, your win ratio is probably 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5.
So I guess the final observation I wanted to make, I'm sorry, I'm revisiting this topic, but I forgot to mention something, is that Ashes is a little bit novel because of the lack of escalation in the board state. Meaning that it doesn't have resources. It doesn't have resources.
There's no resource escalation.
There's very minor board state escalation.
I would actually say the board state escalates a lot. When you talk about building, like when you think about number of cards on the board, ignore resources for a moment, because there is no resource escalation. Right. But you open the game with like a ready spell. You conclude the game with 3 to 6 creatures and 3 ready spells with multiple stacks of cards, all of which are an individual fiddly piece to manipulate.
In most cases, though, that just gives you more options. It doesn't increase your power.
That's true. I do agree with that. It's more about...
Anyway, where I was going with it was, I think it was novel, and I liked that about the game, but I also think it helps facilitate that feeling that I experienced where you didn't have an I can't feel that you have an overwhelming advantage. Right. I feel that you have a temporary minor advantage, but I still have to play. It just dragged. That one game just dragged. And we've played a couple of games that have dragged.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly don't have that complaint in every game. But yeah, I think the... I think the whole... the permutation of board options is a very... It's very interesting. I almost wish it didn't have the resource escalation and also didn't have the choice permutation escalation. I wish there were slightly more choices on turn 1 and slightly fewer on every other turn, or significantly fewer by late game, because it's just there's 20 things I can do, and I can rule out half quick. Yeah.
Everybody I stream with covers their mouth when they're talking. I don't understand it.
Do other people do it as well? Must reconstruct a train of thought.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I find the choice permutation also unrewarding. Like me being able to rule out half of 20 immediate choices doesn't make my life feel much easier. It's again, and then it's like, okay, I've got it down to these 10 things. I can only do 8 of them. Okay, we've narrowed that down just based on dice permutations, which I have to math that resource equation out every freaking turn, because my resources are different every turn, unlike Magic, unlike Versus System. The actual resources I have at my disposal are different, so I have to recalculate the resource expense.
Unless you meditate.
Right. But
to answer your question, Chris, since that's a good segue, often at our final turn of the game, my deck is empty.
Yeah, that's true. It usually comes down to you having an empty deck. but I don't think, except for one mill game, maybe even that one, I don't think it ever.
I don't think
pinged
we've
you.
ever taken damage from not like the game has always ended when somebody's deck is empty. I think that's
Right.
true.
Right. Maybe in the one early ping game, Millie might have milled you to ping once. I had it once, or was about to have it because I was 3 cards shy of a deck, which I felt like a fool afterwards.
Chris says, "Wow, I don't know what you're astonished by because of the time delay."
Yeah. No, he's saying that normally games go 3 to 4 turns tops. That'd be a full turn cycle. I get. What do they call that?
We
Round?
seem to go. I mean, there are games that go 3 to 4 turns. We often go 7.
Yeah,
I think
we go 7 sometimes. I will say this: when you meditate from your deck, so you have a 30-card deck.
No.
Hand is 5 cards. You play most of your cards every turn, typically 4 or 5. That would be 6 turns. If you are also milling from your deck, we probably go 4 to 5 most of the time.
I think 5. I think 5 is the number.
Yeah, we probably go 5 a fair amount because 5 would be an empty deck if you're milling a little bit.
Well, I mean, so that explains it, Chris. We play more turns than you guys.
Yeah,
That sounds.
I think our games are average 1 turn higher.
But
than the
I
game
do
you
like
described.
as I said, I tend to meditate a card or two every turn, as well. So.
Dear, we have your dinner here, by the way. You'll like that.
My phone.
I have not seen your.
So I think that covers Ash's. Just really
Also,
quick final thought on board
was
games. I finally got me a copy of Paperback, which I might make you play on Sunday because it's a hilarious game.
I enjoy
It's,
I enjoy comedy.
It's Scrabble if it were a deck builder.
Whoa, that sounds amazing.
It's pretty good.
I would play that game. I would play that game that you have described.
So let's play some versus.
Yeah,
system.
let's play some versus. I'll actually set this aside right now, and I will get back to that. And I do have 3 decks in front of me, which you could point to if you were so inclined. The deck that you have gestured to is an A deck. Just gonna clean off some of the dust.
Yeah, Scrabble the deck builder. It's called Paperback. It was a Kickstarter game, and I hear it's actually kind of hard to find.
But you got it because you're pretty cool.
I did get it. Well, Kevin got it for me.
Okay.
And I think he got it by backing a different Kickstarter that the author made. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I only played it once. I played it once with Kevin, but it was really fun, and I'm glad to own it. It has the elements of Scrabble that I like, which is you get to demonstrate your knowledge of vocabulary
Well, I'd enjoy that.
without some of the annoying rules of Scrabble that I don't like.
Yep. One of my favorite words is gibbous. I like gibbous.
Gibbous?
Yeah. And how it applies to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
A gibbous moon.
Sure.
It's great.
That's a strange thing you're going on there.
Nope, I'm just saying it's a word. It's a good word. It's a word that I enjoy busting out because I like it because to me it doesn't sound like it should be a word, but it's a word, and that's great. Gibbous.
A lot of things are words that don't sound like should be words.
Are you familiar with gibbous, dear?
No. Wait. Unsure.
Unsure is the vote.
That's I know.
Possibly.
That is no. I need life dice.
Yeah, we need our.
Oh, yeah,
roll-off
I got it
dice
right
as well,
here, yeah,
too.
there
There we go. I don't remember where we were, so I'm going to start us off.
Do it,
And I'm
do
going
it.
to roll the outer die,
The outer die has been selected.
and I have lost.
I'm gonna go evens.
How do you play this game? 4 cards. I remember.
Evens.
Oh no!
Oh no, indeed.
I should keep that, and that might not work.
I too, said Kyle nervously.
Oh no! Oh no!
I did go evens.
That's funny. I will be recruiting Beast. When Beast comes into play, I may discard an Avengers character card. If I do, search my deck for a team-up card, reveal it, and put it into my hand, and then shuffle my deck.
Right on. I'm going to recruit Senator Kelly. It's actually not my ideal 1-drop, but he does have activate. Target player loses endurance equal to the number of army Sentinel characters I control, which is 0.
I'll go ahead and attack Senator Kelly.
What? I take 2. You are stunned.
I will take 1. It's very, very musical. Musical.
Lose 1.
Nice, nice.
That's right.
I appreciate what you did there.
Very good.
Boy, this is an interesting draw. It's gonna be amazing if I can get one thing.
Don't do it. Don't you do it. That's my iniziativa.
That's true. That's also not Italian or English.
A technicality. I gotta decide what I want to do here. That seems like the wrong choice, but it could also be the right choice. It's a difficult lens. Difficult lens. I'm going to recruit Bolivar Trask. He says when he comes into play, I can search my deck for an Army Sentinel character card and put it in my hand. Reveal it and put it in my hand, and then shuffle my deck. And I'm going to search for...
Is it a wild sentinel?
I'm not sure. It might be. You have initiative next time. I'm gonna pick a card. I'm picking a card, picking that card.
I was familiar with that word.
You was.
A likely story.
Yeah, it probably is the Wild Sentinel. It's no.
Maybe you can play it on Sunday when we play.
Wild Sentinel. Which I'll recruit.
Paperback.
The Wild Sentinel, when it comes into play, it gets +1 attack for the turn. I'll just assume we'll remember that. It goes away after 1 turn.
It sure is a nice combination of things that are going to undercut what I'm trying to do.
Sure hope so. I need to do some undercutting here.
I will be recruiting a Ms. Natasha Romanov. I can recruit her from my resource row. She's reservist. While she's team attacking, whenever she stuns a defender, I may stun target character with cost 3 or less.
Right. Well, that's a thing. Alright. So, Bolivar Trask gon' attack Beast.
Alright. We are stunned.
I'll take a 1.
I will also take 1. Natasha Romanov will attack Senator Kelly.
He's going to ping you for 1.
What?
I think that's just going to work.
Oh, good. It's going to cost you to lose me a character.
Yeah. So I'll take 3. I'm going to attack you for 2.
As you must.
So
I will take 2.
And I will take another 1. Well, that didn't go great, but I suppose it could have been worse. Kyle doesn't know, but is in sing-song mood.
I'm going to recruit Beast Boy.
Beast Boy.
When Beast Boy comes into play, put a 1/1 counter on him for each resource you control.
Oh, look at that. He's a dude.
He's a dude?
He is a dude.
He is a dude.
I've learned this. Right. I'm going to flip up the South American Sentinel base, and I'm going to activate it to return an Army Sentinel character card from my KO pile to my hand. I'm then going to recruit a 2-drop and a 1-drop. Thus playing into a Black Widow more than I wish I was. So the 1-drop is, of course, Wild Sentinel yet again. His stats are not different. The Sentinel Mark III is that Army Sentinel characters I control get +1 attack while attacking. And for my formation...
You're off tonight, or you're in an interesting mood. I like it.
I'm in a novel space.
Goofy.
guess we'll do that. Seems like as good a plan as any. What? You have card?
Target character you control with cost 2 or greater has flight this turn. That character gets +2 attack while attacking and an additional +2 attack if you control another character with the same cost as that character. I will attack the 2-drop Sentinel with the Beast Boy for 6.
Yeah, that's a big attack. I reinforce. I'll just ping you now for 2.
Alright, fair enough.
Reinforce and take 2 myself. I must pass.
Hit Kelly.
Yeah. Ow. For 3. 38. I guess that could have gone worse. I actually need to lose Kelly. Goodbye. You were awesome. You were really great. That's the thing. So, I'm going to recruit the upside down Sentinel Mark IV, who gets +1 attack for each other non-stunned army Sentinel character I control, making him a 7/6. It's worth noting he's a 1/1 now, but this guy also gives +1 attack to my army Sentinels while attacking, and I think this is still the way to form. Also, I'm going to flip up Prime Sentinels. Whenever an opponent plays a plot twist from his resource row, that opponent loses 1 endurance for each non-stunned army Sentinel character I control.
What a weird draw I'm having. I'm going to... Man, that would be a nice surprise, but I'm not going to make it a surprise. I'm going to recruit Carol Danvers. Whenever Carol Danvers team attacks, whenever she stuns a defender with cost of 5 or less, return that defender to its owner's hand.
That's rude.
I'm also going to substitute Beast Boy for Beast Boy.
Clever. For an additional counter. Clever. Ian. Interesting. Boy, I hate Carol Danvers. She is not great in this circumstance. I'll take a lot of damage this turn, I think.
I hope so. That would be nice. I just realized I played Windstorm last turn to give Beast Boy flight, but he has flight. Oops.
You gave yourself a lot of attack. I
That's
thought
true.
that was the intention.
That's true.
But maybe that was not your intention. You may take those fries, dear. They are for you. Alright, so when Sentinel Mark IV is attacking, +2 for these characters, and also this character gives him a natural +1, so I can get up to 8 with no other manipulations. Alright. It's a lot of attack, so my choices are I either go for Carol, or I go for Black Widow and just threaten to deal you 8 damage straight up, which is not a trivial hit. And that would save me a reinforcer, so I could mitigate some of it coming back. I'm going to go for Carol. And I'm going to throw this guy in for an extra 2. Just
Teaming
to be
attacking.
sure.
Teaming attacking. Carol. Yeah, I will attempt to deal the damage to the 4-drop.
Yep, that'll work.
I will take 4.
Right. those mean I get beats. Yes. Was the thought.
He is +1 while attacking.
Correct. Sorry. Army Sentinel characters I control are +1 while attacking.
That's what I meant.
Sure.
He grants +1 while attacking.
That's correct.
And he is +1. No, he didn't come into play this
He
turn.
did not come into play this turn,
Excellent.
so he is a 1/1, but when attacking, a 2/1.
Okay. I will attack him with Carol Danvers. And by Carol Danvers, I mean Natasha Romanoff.
Very different tale you have told. I'm going to flip up the Orbital Sentinel base and activate it to KO a ready Army Sentinel character I control. To KO target stunned character.
Oh, that's very potent.
I'm still going to take a lot of damage. You may ready, as you resolve against nothing, and then I must pass. Unfortunately, so I'm paying a lot of life to get her.
Beast Boy.
I think it's still the right choice. That's going to work. So I'll take 5, putting me at 29, and I must pass again.
I will attack you for 3.
Yeah, also will work. 26. Paid a lot of life to get Carol, but I still think it was the right choice. I will activate this to get the Wild Sentinel back. Then this character is lost in my stuff. So you are still ahead of me in characters.
And I have initiative.
That is true and unfortunate.
That's fantastic, because I only have to pay 1 or 2.
1.
To
One
flip
is the
2
price.
worlds.
Yeah, 1 is the price.
Choose 2 team affiliations among characters you control. If you chose Avengers in a different affiliation, and you control another resource named 2 worlds, stuff. I will team up Avengers and Teen Titans, and I will take 1.
Righto.
And then I'm going to recruit Vic Stone Cyborg. Vic Stone Cyborg's power is cosmic. Attackers I control get +1/+1. He also has a boost.
Yep.
I wonder if you can pay a boost for a character you substitute. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know. It depends on if the boost is part of the recruit cost.
Right.
Does it count as recruiting
I
when
don't know.
you substitute?
You have to look at the rules.
Yep,
It's
a technicality that does not apply at this precise moment. I am going to recruit Nimrod. Nimrod is not an Army Sentinel character card, though it does still apply to Prime Sentinels, which is just non-stun Sentinels. When Nimrod comes into play, if you control another Sentinel character, which I fortunately do, put a repair counter on Nimrod. If Nimrod would become stunned, remove the repair counter from him instead. If you do, he is exhausted but not stunned. And I will form thus. By the way, it is worth noting that I can continue to use this once a turn if I am so inclined. Is activate to KO already.
KO stunned.
To KO one of your stunned. So I KO already, Army Sentinel character of mine. I must activate to do so. And in return, I may stun, or KO a stunned character of yours.
I'm not sure how to proceed, really.
Indeed. Fair statement. I'm trying to make this difficult for you and to play defensively as best as I can. What with the 12-point life advantage you currently have.
I think the appropriate thing to do is to team attack Nimrod.
Oh, interesting. play. Right. Your attack would be 8, except what does Cyborg do? Just
He gives him +1/+1, so it's 10.
Right. It does get you pretty far over me. That will work. I will attempt to deal the damage to Beast Boy.
What?
My counter is gone, and Nimrod is exhausted. Cool. Cool. I'm going to attack Black Widow for 5. It's only 5.
I should have done that different. Yeah, I will take 5. I didn't take damage for Beast Boy, I don't think.
That is accurate. Still want to attack with Cyborg,
Yeah, I should have done this first. I have another Windstorm. Cyborg will attack your 4-drop
Sure.
for
yeah. Fair
12.
amount. Fair amount. Ouch. Oy. Yeah. That's just gonna work. It's unfortunate for me. I will take 10, putting me at 16. Now, I will activate to return an army character to my hand. Keep them around anyway. Man, this is a darn weird draw. It started off okay and has remained incredibly okay. So I gotta decide how I do this. It's my initiative, which means it must be Bastion.
May I make a retcon? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Oh, it's not relevant. It's not relevant.
Then no, you cannot.
All right.
I'm going to recruit Bastion. Bastion says I may discard a Sentinel character card. And target character gets +1/+1 this turn. Also, I'm going to flip up Underground Sentinel Base. Reveal a face down, which I may activate to reveal a face down Army Sentinel character. I only have a 2 cost to put it to play. And I'm actually going to form like this, I think. The one I selected, of course, was Sentinel Mark III. Army Sentinel characters I control get +1 attack while attacking, which is just this guy.
What does it cost me to flip something?
It is 4 right now. This is the one based on my unstunned characters. You do maintain a significant life advantage currently, however.
I think I'm going to do it. I did draw another 2 worlds, which just gets me a card.
Okay. It's not bad. You've got a life advantage if you need the card. I apologize, I need to use the restroom real quick.
Sure. I'm going to be thinking for a minute anyway, so
Right
it's
back.
probably a good time.
Just continue to narrate aimlessly if you must.
Oh, that didn't go the way I wanted. Well, I've decided what I'm going to do to Kyle. I will wait for him to return to reveal it. Not quite as effective as I had hoped. Silly flight on everyone. It's going to matter. 15 life.
Has improved my mood. Yeah, my whole goal is to live through this turn, which unfortunately means you would have initiative next turn. But I gotta make it difficult on you.
Well,
So how did you get flight on Vic last turn? Was that another windstorm?
yeah, which I played from my hand.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to recruit
Saves you the clever.
Natasha Romanoff.
Oh yeah, I don't like her.
I'm going to recruit Holly Granger. Holly Granger says, when Holly Granger comes into play, if you don't control Dawn Granger, you may search your deck for a card named Dawn Granger with the version Avatar of Order. Put her into play.
Oh my. You
In your
are
front row.
swarming it up.
And shuffle your deck.
Yeah.
I think that, unfortunately, that's going to be the extent of my swarm.
Right.
You have flight and range on everybody, because of course you do.
That is true. I am the Sentinels. I am the Sentinels.
So, I think that I form something like this.
Oh, read me, Natasha. She can get 3 or less.
Yeah. While Natasha Romanoff is team attacking, whenever she stuns a defender, you may stun target character with cost 3 or less.
You
Boy,
must get
maybe.
this done. Dawn is +1 to your team attackers.
Yeah, I didn't read Dawn. While
Yeah.
Dawn Granger is team attacking, attackers get +1 attack.
Is it all attackers or team attackers? I guess it would include
Attackers.
herself.
Yeah.
Then. I see.
I'm thinking of reforming. Give me a moment.
No worries, no worries. This is going to be the pivotal turn. I think.
Bastion is discard for +1/+1 for everyone?
Yes. So Bastion's power is discard a Sentinel character card from your hand. Target character gets +1/+1 the turn.
For the turn.
Yes. Of this turn. Even. So it does not apply to everyone, but it does stick around for the turn if the character remains unstunned.
I think that I hate it. I think I need to eat your first attack, which might be quite large. For the sake of being able to counterattack anyone.
That is reasonable.
Not a fan.
Right. Well, I think the correct opening play is for Bastion to attack Vicstone.
It's not a bad one.
There are risks associated with it, but I think it is the better choice.
I will accept, I believe. Let me revisit everything I've got,
Yeah.
but I will accept.
Very good. Very good.
Your attack is 12 and you have not boosted it in any way.
Correct.
So I will take 9.
That's good. Yeah.
So I will now team attack Nimrod with everyone.
Yep.
I will reveal that I have the Playroom. Whenever a defender becomes stunned by one or more Avengers team attackers you control,
Right.
that defender's controller loses 4 endurance.
Yep. That's pretty legit.
And also, should this succeed, Natasha will of course stun the 2-drop as well.
Sure. So I will attempt to KO Vicstone.
Sure.
Saves me 2 life, actually. Right. Now this other part, which is arguably more problematic, I may be able to do less. 5 extra damage from Playroom?
4 from Playroom.
4, okay. So if you succeed at the stun, I'll take 5 from Nimrod. 4 from that, I'll take 9, and it'll be a 7. Your total attack is,
14, I think, is what I
14.
came up with. I'll run it once more to be sure.
Yeah, that's a lot. Sure is a lot.
It's 15.
That's even more than 14.
Yes. I had hoped you were not able to power up beyond it, but maybe you can. It's hard to say.
It's gonna work. I will attempt to deal the damage to Beast Boy. I will take the 9.
3.
Yep. It's interesting. How do I do this? Do I go for Dawn or Natasha? Arguably, they are the same. Natasha's more attack, period. But Dawn only needs to be attacking with 2 other people, or 1 other character for her attack her attack benefit to be the same as Natasha's. Natasha has a stun power.
Which only matters if you have small characters.
Right. That's an interesting option set. I think I go for... I am going to go for Natasha. For 5.
Right, just 5? I will be taking 5.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a close game.
It is.
I wish it were less so.
Yeah. We'll keep Nimrod. I will also activate to return this card to my hand.
I think you may have this game. Depends on what I draw, though.
What are you doing, Draw? You're being stupid. You're just being stupid. That's stupid. I'm just dumbfounded right now. This is such a strange draw. It is actually your initiative. This is turn 7, so that's going to matter a great deal, I think, almost no matter what you have.
I'm going to recruit Vicstone with his boost. Boost 2, when Vicstone comes into play, if you don't control Beast Boy,
God dang.
search your
Can't
deck
get rid
for
of
a
him.
card named Beast Boy, etc.,
Beast
etc.
Boy. How many of that Beast Boy do you have? I guess we'll
I
find
hope
out.
more than 1. I'm sure more than 1.
You have played 2 so far this game.
I hope more than 2, but I don't know. Maybe do another pass here. I may not have 2. I've played 2?
You did. You replaced him early. You
I
substituted
him for himself. I may not have another Beast Boy.
If you do not, of course, you can spend those resource points on something else.
Well, that's true, but it's not very
Might
valuable.
not be a good choice, yeah.
And I should have dumped my Beast Boy last turn. Well, no Beast Boy.
I lucked out.
That's going to make this a little harder.
Yep. My draw is so absurd. It's pretty absurd.
I will be putting a Quinjet on Holly Granger. Quinjet gives characters I control flight and +1 defense while defending with reinforcement.
Right.
Of course, Vicstone has his counter.
Well, I am dead this turn, and there's nothing I can do about it because of the playroom, which is interesting.
I think you're going to be able to kill me more, though. I will also recruit Jarvis if you'll allow me to respend my resource points.
That's fine.
Whenever Jarvis becomes a defender, you may return him to its owner's hand. If you do, search your deck for an Avengers character card, reveal it, and put it in your hand and shuffle your deck. Don't know that that's going to amount to much.
I suppose he's extra attack, and he's not a liability, because you can always pop him. Reasonable. I got to think about what I do here. It's a situation. I'm keen on a lot of things that are happening right now. That's downright preposterous. I think I'm gonna blow your mind this turn in a novel way, not necessarily in a "wow, that was cool" way, but in a "what the hell is up with your draw" kind of way. So, really? That's so stupid. Alright, I want everyone to pay really close attention here. So I got 6 resource points. I'm going to recruit Master Mold. Master Mold cannot attack. He also gives my Army Sentinel characters +2 attack, which is currently the Sentinel Mark IV only. He also has a power, Activate, to put an Army Sentinel character card from your hand into your front or support row, which I can only do during my recruit step. I am now not going to use him. Also, I'm not going to use this Underground Sentinel base.
Maybe I do have a shot.
Yep, it's kind of annoying. Now, that said, this guy does have 7 attack. Innately. Do I protect? You got flight on everyone. But it's only because you have the Quinjet. So if I do stun the Quinjet, you no longer have that flight. So I think the appropriate play is this. Each. Or is it? No, it's probably that. Yep, that's what we'll do. That's what Kyle did. Kyle did a thing. It was this. So stupid. It's all so stupid.
Well, I team attack Bastion with everyone.
Yeah, that's a pretty good play. Your attack is like 20?
It's a lot more than 20.
Yep. Well,
16 plus 10. It's 26.
right. That's a really sizable number, I think it's fair to say. So, that's going to work. I can't beat 26.
I
But-
hope not.
But, I can use Bastion's power to affect further outcomes. And I have 6 Sentinels to do it with.
Why didn't you put some of them in your resource room?
They're all 2 and 1 cost, except for the big ones that aren't armies, so they don't apply to any of my powers. So any I put into play is immediately going to get stunned by Natasha on the team attack,
This turn, okay, sure.
and therefore
sure.
be lost life. It actually saves me life to not recruit my 2 and 1 cost characters. So, I will not be spending any on Bastion. I will not be spending any on Master Mold. So how do I divide them between the Mark IV and Nimrod? Is it 3 and 3? Or is it 4 and 2? I think we divide it up. We'll do 4 here. And 2 here. And I will do it with counters if you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
These, of course, go away at the end of the turn, should we see the next turn, which we won't. Then, I will return one of them to my hand. And discard it with Bastion. Put another counter on this guy. Is that right? I'll give us only a moment's more thought here, but I did that backwards. That was the thing. Something was wrong there. I knew something was wrong. And then we're going to do it again. Now I'm done. And then I'm stunned, and I will take 6 plus 4 for 10, putting me at -3. I will attempt to deal the damage to Vic Stone. And
I will
-3.
take 5.
my initial attack must be the Mark IV against Holly Ranger. Is that right? That's probably right. To get rid of flight, you'd have to go through Master Mold. Do you have enough attack to get Master Mold? I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You do not, so that's what I'll do. My attack, for the record, is 12. I did not state that. It is 5 plus 5 plus 2. It's also worth noting that should you flip anything now, I have a stunned character, so it's only 3 then. Flip a bunch of stuff. Specifically plot twists.
I think you have me soundly here. I'm going to play Teen Titans Go. Ready all Teen Titans characters that have team attacked this turn. Those characters cause no breakthrough this turn. This gives Holly 1 defense from the Quinjet.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it gives me an opportunity to reinforce that I won't get to take advantage of. So I will take... I'm sorry, you said your attack was 10?
That is... it is 12.
12?
So you'll take 11.
I'll take 11. You've already won.
I didn't know if you could get...
No, I have nothing else.
Get Nimrod. Because if you can get Nimrod, you would deal me another 10 and I'd be at negative 13.
Yep.
So that is what I could not rule out.
I have 8 attack left, which is not enough to get your which is what I was hoping for.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Fair enough. It was actually pretty close. Like, again, if you have the flight to get Nimrod, which takes...
I can't get Nimrod. I have 8 attack.
If you had a Windstorm, then you have the flight and the attack. Because you have 2 characters at the same
Windstorm,
cost, so you would get 4.
But I can only grant flight to one of them.
Oh, that's true. That is true. That is a reasonable point.
Might have been enough? It might have been enough.
It was close. It was very close. Because you still get to trigger the extra damage effect.
That was a weird draw. It almost worked.
It was very strange because I had a bunch of stuff to discard for Bastion, but I didn't get to do, like, the Swarm thing would have been significantly more powerful if I had, like, a bunch of 4 drops and 5 drops, like, that I have in the deck and never drew any. I drew one of them.
I didn't get my team up till 5. That really mattered.
That's true. That did matter. That was a strange game. My draw was okay the whole way. I had my opening hand was a 1-drop, 2-drop, and 2 6-drops. It's like, the 6 drops are real important, so we'll keep them and try to hold out. And then I did weird things to try and stick with it until then. It's okay.
I was really sad because I had Beast in my hand. I could have discarded an Avengers character card to go get the team up. And it would have had to been Natasha. I absolutely couldn't do that.
Couldn't get rid of Natasha. She's very
But if I had the team up on 3, I could have wreaked some havoc with it. But
No, that would have been... I mean, there was some interesting stuff that game. The Carol was terrifying, and I took a bunch of damage and got my whole team stunned to get her and then do the KO. I still think that was the right choice, but it was a high cost.
If I didn't play that pointless Windstorm, I might have been able to do something the last turn.
That's kind of hilarious.
In my car again.
Okay, see you soon, honey. Bye. Walk safely.
All right, what's next?
Well, let's find out.
That was an okay game.
That was all right. I agree. I did not foresee any particular outcome for the vast majority of that game. So I got this deck and I got this deck.
That one.
This is the one. This one does masquerade as an S deck, so we'll do that. I actually don't think it was too long ago that I played this deck, but it didn't do the thing that it does, and that upset me. And it probably won't do it again, but whatever. Whatevs, yo.
It's kind of funny. I think we've evolved in a good direction. I'm looking forward to playing my S decks, and that was not true a while ago.
That's good. I am glad for that.
Because you didn't enjoy playing them. So.
Yeah. Well, and, I am... I I feel a little poorly because your S decks are really clever. The previous S decks were all very, very clever decks, but they were very frustrating to play against. So you built them too well, sir. Proof of concept achieved.
Facing my cards for Chris's benefit.
Oh, that's nice of you. I'm sure Chris appreciates that. Excuse me. It's worth noting that my exclusive Marvel vs. Capcom Steelbook also comes with an exclusive costume for Carol Danvers.
Is it really worth noting that?
No. I felt like saying... You want those exclusive costumes because the art is so great.
I'm going to spoil Civil War II, which is an old comic arc at this point, so whatever.
Spoilers for those interested in the conclusion of Civil War II.
The marketing for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite that was first announced right at the beginning month or two of Civil War II, the comic arc.
Right.
The Marvel Comics spanning comic arc. And the marketing that they released was a promotional video, and it had Iron Man and Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. Probably.
Captain Marvel.
Because Ms. Marvel is Kamala Khan.
Sure. Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel is Carol Danvers.
Carol Danvers. They were like teaming up to overcome this
Something.
awful Sigma, Ultron
monstrosity,
situation.
we'll call it.
And in the comics, it was literally Captain Marvel had just killed Iron Man, so it was like completely disconnected with the tone of the comics at the time.
That's actually pretty hilarious. Yeah. I do want to point out that for anybody who is even remotely curious, I highly encourage you to look up the final boss of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which I think is visually one of the worst designed, goofiest looking, stupidest bosses I have ever seen. It made me, I didn't laugh, I was just kind of stared at it blankly. It was that level of bad. I'm going to go Outer Die, because that worked so well for you.
You have one.
I have one.
I have mulligans.
All right. This deck will go...
It's definitely better.
It's
not
probably...
great, though.
It's probably odds. It's interesting. I'm not sure. I don't think about that very much in this one. We're going to go odds. I feel like I haven't had to make that... I've lost the rolls every time I've played this deck. The questions seemed foreign to me. No. Nope.
One of the things that sort of has put me off from MVC3, and it was true of MVC2, or I'm sorry, MVC Ultimate and MVC3. What is that called? Infinite.
Infinite is this one, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was sort of an emphasis on the cinematic universe and the characters that weren't the Fox characters, which are the X-Men, which for me are the
some of
when
the
I think
bears,
Marvel,
sure.
that's what I think.
Yeah, most of the roster. I mean, they have some good choices in there.
Sure,
I'm going to pass.
Oh, okay. Me too.
Well, there you go. So again.
That's better.
Why
You gotta do that thing.
It's so stupid.
Don't you do that thing you always do. I will be mad.
Mine's doing the thing it always does, which is the opposite of the thing I want it to do. So it is. This time your initiative.
I'm going to recruit KG Beast. At the start of my attack step, a target player exhausts a ready character he controls.
Right on. I'm going to not recruit a 2-drop.
Oh dear. Well then KG Beast is going to hit you for
No
4.
idea. You will soon have an idea. Right now you have no idea. Good lord.
Well, I'm about to whiff on a crucial drop, so...
Well, then I'm not out of it. I do have a 3-drop. It's Taskmaster. When Taskmaster enters play, get a 1/1 counter on him.
You missed your crucial drops too. I
Sure
don't feel
did.
so
It's
bad.
maddening. This happened last time. That's why I played him again. When he enters play, put a 1/1 counter on him for each resource you control. Oh, pardon me. More than 3. I may also activate him to move those counters he didn't get somewhere else. It's just a 4/4.
Four.
So your 2-drop
Four.
may stun him.
So I'm going to do
Hi, honey.
this.
Yeah.
Boy, I wish I could make it work the other way. I'm so close. Let me think. Yeah, it's not there. It's not there. So close. So I'm gonna put him in my front row, and then I'm gonna recruit Natasha Irons, Starlight, whose power is vengeance. Whenever Natasha Irons becomes stunned, target Revenge Squad character in my front row gets +3 attack this turn. I will also reveal that I have Truth and Justice, which is a very generic team-up that lets me discard another Truth and Justice for a power-up.
Yeah.
And I will also reveal that I have Battle for Metropolis.
Jeez.
Revenge Squad characters in my front row get +1 attack.
Joke's on you. You don't even need it. I'm going to attack KGBs.
I'm going to reinforce KGBs.
I'm going to take 3.
I will take 2.
Curses. I fell right into your trap. Stupid Thunderbolts. Stupid Thunderbolts. You're killing me, Smalls. Smalls. Smalls.
I will be recruiting Poison Ivy. Characters adjacent to Poison Ivy get -1/-1. Her stats are large, that's why her ability is dumb.
Yep.
Do you have no one?
Do have a 4-drop. I also just drew 2 effing 2-drops. Either of which I could have used on turn 2, but now I have to choose if I bring them both out. Or not.
They would not benefit from Taskmaster this turn?
Taskmaster does nothing ever.
Oh, yeah. I get it.
Because he's not my ideal 3-drop. I think I bring him out and we see what happens. It's Beetle Mock and Joystick. Both of them, during my recruit step, get counters. When Joystick has 2 or more, she has invulnerability. When Beetle has 2 or more, he cannot be stunned while attacking. And we'll form like that, because why not?
Please exhaust a ready character you control.
Sure. We will exhaust... Oh, interesting. I should have considered that. Maybe that will affect my formation.
You
Mind if
can
I
change it
reconsider
for me. Yeah, totally. It's not a surprise.
It's weird because that might actually change my formation. Exhaust a ready character I control. It's actually going to be I form like this and then exhaust Beetle. But nah.
I can't cut it close.
That is true.
Well, it's okay. I still do the thing. I just do it the other way. Which means Natasha Iron still attacks Beetle.
Okay.
I will reveal that I have another Battle for Metropolis, so her attack is 4.
Yeah, it's a pretty sizable attack. You're currently counter-stunned if nothing else happens. Is that accurate? Which is, by some measures, a win, but by certain vengeance powers, not a win. And that gives your front row defenders, attackers, everyone.
Gives target character in my front row +3 attack this turn.
Displeasing. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna work.
I will take 2, and the target of that will, instead of the KGBs, be Poison Ivy.
Right, and I take 4.
My attack was 4.
I take 5. Ugh. Boy. Right. Poison Ivy is very large. all of your front row characters at all times are +1 attack, or +2
in fact,
attack,
yep.
at all times.
Yep.
And she's also plus an additional 3 attack
For the turn.
for the turn at all times until the next turn. Why is that there? Is that there?
That is nothing.
Okay.
No, that is
okay.
from a previous game.
Okay. All right. I accept.
This also is nothing.
Right. So I gotta read a card. That's the card. Taskmaster is going to attack Poison Ivy.
Huh. Oh. That was unexpected.
And I am going to play from my hand Ruthless Aggression. Target attacker gets +2 attack this attack, and an additional +1 attack for each time an opposing character was stunned or KO'd this turn. So that's 3, bringing
What?
my attacking
This isn't
total.
that deck.
Bringing my attacking total to 7. I am also going to play a Slobber Knocker, bringing my attack to 8. That's sorry. Target character gets +1 attack this attack. And that character becomes stunned this attack. If Slobber Knocker is in your resource row, you may turn it face down at the start of your recovery phase this turn. So right now we are tied.
I do have a power up.
Do you have another Slobber Knocker?
I think I'm out. I think that's gonna fly. Man, total party kill.
I just party killed. I'm gonna get soundly counter
Actually
stunned.
worked, but
Take 3.
4. Well, I must press.
Yeah.
Nobody needs any characters.
Nobody needs characters. Yeah.
4 or 6.
I mean, I can't do nothing about it.
We'll be taking two stomach. Gosh darn it, I'm having issues.
You're doing some things over there. Yeah, I mean, that's going to work. So your attack was 6.
Yeah.
It's so much. I will take 3 breakthrough and 2 for the stun. Yeah.
You get your slobber knockers back, though.
I do. At the start of the recovery phase.
Oh, okay.
3 breakthrough. 2, this thing is 5. That's math. That's how math works.
It sure
Ian.
is.
That's how math works.
I checked.
So do I keep? I think I lose the characters to get the counters,
Aw.
which is stupid.
I'm sorry.
It's so stupid.
That's frustrating,
It's
I'm
kinda-
sure.
Yeah. Well, they got your weenies, so I guess I get some solace out of that. It's imperfect, but what? Why? Why, Ian?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost too stupid to ponder. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm going to. Here, this is a hell of a draw. I'm going to recruit Genisvel Photon. When Genisvel enters play, target opponent loses 1 endurance for each face-down resource he controls, which is 1, because you have not yet put a resource in your resource row this turn.
Don't think I could play that one.
That's the one that you had there, so you take 1. Then, I'm going to substitute Taskmaster for Taskmaster.
Hey, that's a good play.
And he gets 2 counters now. Yes, I did recruit, just to be clear, a 4-drop on 5.
Well, I'll be recruiting Mr. Freeze, whose power is characters adjacent to whom cannot ready. And I'll also be putting a power armor on Poison Ivy. The power armor grants her the ability equipped character gets +2 attack and can attack as though it had flight.
Right. +2 attack, you said?
Mm-hmm.
At all times?
Yep.
Why? Why? That's just not needed. This deck used to be really cool and fun to play, and now it's making me do all these stupid things, which I guess I should feel clever about sometimes, but they're not clever. They're just doing weird nonsense. So how big is her attack?
It's 11.
11 is a large number. It's my initiative. This is my initiative. This is my initiative. The initiative that it is.
This is your initiative on
mine.
drugs.
Sure is.
Any questions?
I mean, there's some profanities that could be worded as a question running through my mind. Do I do the stupid thing now? It's dumb. It's so dumb. Why is it all awful and dumb? Yeah. It's gonna be so much damage. I'm gonna team attack Mr. Freeze. I'm getting you, Mr. Freeze. Arrgh.
I will deal the damage to Mr. Photon.
Mr. Photon. I will take 4, putting me at 26. I'm fighting so hard and it feels so futile.
I will attack Taskmaster.
You have 2 slobber knockers,
No.
so I am an 8/6.
Oh, how about that?
I'm going to take a lot
Still
of
the right
damage.
thing to do, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Your attack was 11.
Yeah.
I'll take 8. At 18. I do get my slobber knockers back.
See, I'm
Sweet.
helping you out.
So great.
Oh, my initiative, huh?
Yeah.
I've got Doomsday. He has loyalty.
God, why is he so big? Okay. Sure does have loyalty. Sure is true. I'm going to recruit Melissa Gold Songbird. Whenever an adjacent character becomes stunned, she gets a 1/1 counter. I'm also going to recruit, and I very, very rarely get to play this card, it's not going to help me much, the Zeus. Zeus costs 1 less to recruit if you control 5 or more resources, so it's a late game equipment. Thunderbolts characters I control, which is all of them, get +1/+1, and flight and range. They both have flight and range already, but it makes Photon slightly bigger. So it'll be a great turn for me to have initiative. Now, how do I form with this cruddy? Gotta think for a minute. Right now, it is not clear whether or not you will be getting +2 attack on everyone across the board. Why must Doomsday have Doomsday-like stats?
He's got no text and loyalty. That's his shtick.
Loyalty reveal. Like loyalty. Yeah, I'll form like this.
Yeah, I think I just hit Photon with freeze then.
Yeah, there's an option. I am +1/+1, so I'm an 8/8.
You play your slobber knockers again?
Yeah,
they're
gonna
working for you.
I'm gonna do it. Slobber knockers away.
Yeah.
Slobber knockers away. Away, slobber knockers. So I'm not going to reinforce. I will take 2 breakthrough. No, sorry, your +2 attack.
Yeah.
4 breakthrough, 4 for the stun. I am at 10. But I do get a counter on Melissa Gold. I'm now going to attack Doomsday. And I am a 15-14. 15-14. But because Doomsday is the same cost
Oh,
as Melissa
no.
Gold,
Oh, no.
I am a 18-17, which I believe puts me 1 ahead.
Sure does. I don't think that's gonna work. I'll play all locked up.
That does something. What does that do?
Target character can't cause breakthrough this attack while attacking an Arkham Inmate's defender that is not adjacent to any character.
Yes, that's a good call. Pretty good savings on that when the life totals are what they are. Wait a minute. Yeah. I guess I have initiative next time. That's going to be real important, I think. I get these back. Do I keep around Genesvel? I think I still
Fun
do.
to hit. Especially in Doomsday.
Whatever else you come up with.
Now you're just being insulting.
Yeah.
Yeah, your initiative.
It's my initiative. Interesting. I think I can exploit that card's wording. We're going to find out. I have a choice. Got so little life. I'm going to recruit Green Goblin. 5-drop. The Green Goblin has at the start of the recruit step put a 1/1 counter on each adjacent character. As a reminder, all my characters are +1 courtesy of Zeus.
Yep. You have to play it safe. I'll be recruiting Killer Croc. Killer Croc's power is discard a card at random. Killer Croc gets +X attack this turn, where X is that card's cost. Use this only once per turn.
Right. Right on. I'm going to team attack Croc. My attack is 19.
Yep. I will attempt to deal damage to Goblin.
Will work. I will take 5. Do get a counter here. 5 puts me at 5. Because math.
I'm going to attack Photon.
We are nearing a point where we may need a rules ruling. Because it's weird. If this works, it's cool and tricksy, but it's also kind of stupid because of card wording. So let's find out. Have I Am Doom.
I am Doom. I'm eagerly awaiting how this is relevant.
Yes, I know. but I am Doom. So I Am Doom says, and hopefully Chris is listening, or Casey, put a 1/1 counter on target character you control. We'll worry about that in a moment. Then it has boost, KO X characters you control. Also put X 1/1 counters on a Doctor Doom you control. So the wordsmith question is, it doesn't say target Doctor Doom. It says put counters on a Doctor Doom you control. Which suggests, but I'm not sure, that I could use this to put a counter on Melissa Gold, KO Genesvel, and I don't have any Doctor Dooms to put counters on. I'll read it again.
That doesn't seem right to me.
It's shady. I want to be clear. What I'm even suggesting is shady, but I'll read the wording one more time. Boost, KO X characters you control.
Chris thinks you're correct.
Also put X 1/1 counters on a Doctor Doom you control. So, I use my shenaniphones to put the counter here, and KO my dude to steal initiative.
I got it.
Now that doesn't put another counter on Melissa Gold. So I go ham and go after Doomsday with one more grudge match.
Oh no, another grudge match? Woof. What is your defense?
My defense is 18. 19.
So my attack is 16. Dang it. Why are you always one over me?
That's real close. I'm very nervous. Save me, grudge match.
Twice now. Twice you have beaten my attack by 1. That's ludicrous.
Does he have one more attack this turn than last turn?
Well, he does when I reveal the other
Oh, that's...
over Metropolis.
But I got one extra counter from when Goblin was stunned, so you're right, it would remain 1.
No, sorry, what is your defense?
I don't know. Alright, so I'm just going to temporarily represent the 3-3 with counters. So I am that plus 1-1 from the Zeus. So I am 19 defense.
19.
I made 2019.
Well, I've got another all locked up. Damn it. I'm going to take 6.
I really needed you to not, like, I'm getting ahead in characters, but now it's your initiative. So we'll see where this goes. Oh boy. I was afraid of that other all locked up. Alright, here we go.
I'm going to stack up my Battles for Metropolis.
Boy, oh boy. Alright. So you had a locked up for every grudge match I have played thus far. I need you to not have more locked ups, or I would think I will lose. But I'm not sure. Well, it is your initiative.
Yep, I'll be recruiting Doomsday.
Yep. God dang it. Have to decide. You don't currently have flight.
You don't currently have flight.
What I have said is true. So at the start of my recruit step, Goblin puts a counter on Melissa Gold.
Yes, but she loses
But
3
she
of her
loses
temporary
3 counters. That's a really important point. So that is the net result of that. That's slightly less imposing. But still not trivial.
What were the temporary counters for?
That was grudge match. That was just a
okay.
tracker for grudge match. I can't do that. Can I? The thing that I ruled out, I might be ruling back in, and it's kind of dumb. Read me Croc's power again.
Discard a card at random. Killer Croc gets plus X attack this turn, where X is the cost of that card.
It's for the whole
Use only
turn.
once per turn.
It's for the turn.
For the turn. For the turn.
I'm glad we had that moment. I need to decide which of the stupid things I want to do, because I don't have a good play. So, which mediocre play is the best play is the question.
You just have a giant 6-drop.
You'd think that was the right play. I have a reasonably sizable 6-drop,
Ooh.
and it still could be the wrong play. For the sake of novelty, perhaps we'll open my contemplations.
Open them.
So, one thing I've got is... So these 2 cards are not valuable in the context of recruiting. The 2 cards that I could recruit are 1-cost Green Goblin and 6-cost Abomination. So 1 cost Green Goblin. Of course, I'd lose my other Goblin. So that seems like a bad idea. But he's hidden, and I can stun him to put a 1/1 counter on another character I control. So I can make someone else bigger. It's basically a free counter on Melissa Gold. And oddly, Green Goblin might be a liability, which is silly, but it might be true. Abomination is a tempting character. His power is whenever 1 or more opposing characters enter combat with him, remove all counters from them, and he gets a 1/1 counter. So he by default is a 13/12. But he's not Thunderbolts. So I can't reinforce him, and the Zeus does not apply to him. I think. Correct. So this puts me in a bit of a pickle.
So this is one of 2 things you're considering?
I could do both. He's 6, this is 1, so I could do both of those things.
Oh, okay. I thought this pairing was one choice and there was another
Right,
choice.
no.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like, do I recruit Abomination? Do I
Well,
recruit...
I think you'd be crazy to recruit just Green Goblin.
I agree. I think that one I've ruled out. There's really 2 things. It's just Abomination or Abomination and Goblin.
Right.
So you're going to deal Breakthrough on your opening attack. I'm sort of resigned to that. So the question is, how do I deal the most back, and can I do a net gain? Abomination, if I recruit him, can't be reinforced. So he's just a damage soak, which is not terrible. Maybe the correct play is it this? You're stupid. So, I think I have to recruit Abomination. How many cards are in your hand?
3.
3. So there's a chance that they're not all incredibly high-cost cards for Croc. He probably distilled it to at least one of them being good, maybe 2, but probably not 3. We know I've got 2 Slobber Knockers and 4 mystery cards. So if I form like this, as a reminder, Goblin is +1/+1 because he is Thunderbolts, which means if you do not have a way to boost Doomsday's defense, Goblin is reinforceable. Alternatively, I could force you to go for Melissa Gold, whom you probably... You're real borderline with Doomsday right now. You'd probably swing at Melissa Gold with Croc and see what you can drum up. You can get the stun if nothing else happens. Period. I would get the counter stun. How useful is that? Boy, if only you knew that thing that you don't know.
This was going to be a zippy game, Kyle. Come on.
Yeah, I know. The problem is I need to know what your opening play will be in each formation situation. If I get that wrong, I think I will lose the game. If I get it right, there's about a 50-50 chance I will win the game. Boy, Doomsday's kind of... All your characters are +3 attack right
Yep.
now. I think I form like this. I form like this.
Do not recruit Goblin.
And I do not recruit Goblin. Is that true?
Put him in your hand. Oh, gosh.
Alright, let's say that everything I've done up to now is correct. The question is still, do I recruit Goblin? If I recruit Goblin, you will have... If you don't have a way to get flight, you have to go through Abomination. That's novel. You could just attack Goblin. I'll not recruit this goblin. What now?
Well. Now my survival hinges on the hope that you cannot counter-stun a Killer Croc with Goblin.
Are you going to fire Croc's power?
Not yet.
I won't do anything yet. Is that true? That's probably true. Interesting. I could reinforce.
That's true. Would you live?
Oh no, I'd be dead. The question is, could I get through? Okay. If I don't reinforce, your attack is currently 14. My defense is 10, 11 if I power up, which seems pretty likely. So you would deal 3 breakthrough, you deal me 8, I'd be at -3. If you don't fire his power, I will currently not reinforce.
Okay. Let's do it.
You're at 6. What if you have another all locked up? You've played 2. Why wouldn't you fire Croc's power? It'd be 3 additional damage. It lasts for the turn. You save it for on defense? You could just save it for on defense.
The reason I wouldn't fire Croc's power is if there was something so valuable in my hand I didn't want to risk it yet.
Right. That is a valid reason, because it's at random, which does mean you could have another all locked up. Huh. Oh god, the all locked up is so painful. It means that there's no equation by which I can win if you have that other locked up. Well, the question is still whether or not I reinforce. So here, let me just... The logic is this. If you have another all locked up, and I do not reinforce, I have lost.
Okay.
So the only other recourse I have is to reinforce. No, because then I'm going to get counter-stunned when I attack Chuckles. Either way, she's getting a counter from when he gets stunned. But if you reinforce Chuckles...
So you have to count on... If you reinforce, you have to count on doing more breakthrough through Doomsday than the cost of Abomination. That's a lot.
Right. It's basically... It's only 3 life, but the problem is you're going to counter-stun me both ways, and you're up by 5 already.
Hey man, I know what I'm doing.
I have to assume you can't reinforce.
Okay.
Because if you can, I lose it either way. So the next logical play.
Well, counterpoint, Chris. Is it better to miss an opportunity to win when you had one, or to play quickly?
I apologize. 11, 3. I did have to power up to get that number. So, Abomination will attack Doomsday. He gets a counter when he engages in combat. Right now, we are tied, and I throw my slobber knockers into this attack. So I am a 2 over, and getting counter-stunned. It all hinges on the
I accept.
Oh my. Oh, so I'm at -9. don't think I can avoid the counter stun. All right, well, it is to you. Do you pass?
I will pass.
Okay, so I have to do the attack. There's not a reason to not do the attack. And I got a power up and nothing else. So we just have to math this out.
What is your defense?
My defense is 20.
My attack is 17.
Yep.
And your attack is
21.
So I reveal that I have Dimensional Deal. To play, choose up to two team affiliations among characters you control, cross them over. Revenge Squad defenders in your front row get +1 attack.
Sure.
So that's going to boost my attack by 1.
Yep.
I do have another all locked up.
Couldn't save it.
And now we determine if I get the counter stun.
Oh, Lord. So, if you get the counter stun... Oh, sorry.
Is do I win by a little, do I win by a lot?
Well, if you don't get the counter stun, you're about to take 7 damage, and we will both be at -9. Or are you at +2?
I'm at -2. Ooh, interesting.
So, which card I select...
Well, let me make sure
Yep.
that I ran the
Yep.
math right then.
Yep.
So
Sure.
my attack is currently 18, and you said your defense is 20.
That is correct. I have 6 from the counters, and the
Why?
Zeus is 1.
Why
and
is
Harp
it coming
1.
down to this? God damn it. What are you? Nothing useful.
Whose initiative was this? Who will get initiative next?
This was my initiative.
Okay, so I have a real shot if I select the right card.
Does it get see, Chris? If you didn't think really hard, wouldn't have come down to this 50-50 shot, which is stupid.
I'm gonna select that card.
That card is
Yeah!
the one! No!
That was
Oh
unforeseen.
no!
Oh my word.
Aw.
-9s.
I don't think I can come back from that. That's too bad.
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
I think I have to lose. That's actually a really tough choice about who I keep because he's bigger but can't be reinforced. I think reinforcement matters less this turn. It is my initiative, so that matters as well. I think I keep. Or pardon me. We know I'm keeping Melissa Gold. I'm keeping Green Goblin. And they're technically formed like this.
it is yours. I would only have a 1 or a 2 drop to recruit. And without initiative, well, interesting. It's KG Beast.
Yeah.
So you get 1 attack, but your 6 drop, you get my 7 drop.
Yeah, and to
you
be
got
clear,
me.
I do, for what it's worth, I have nothing. I have nothing to recruit. But what I do is...
I see 3 characters you could recruit.
I wouldn't want to recruit either of them. I could recruit Venom. If you were... Well, I have to make the choice first.
Right.
Venom is a... I guess I go like, I recruit Venom and
50-50.
attack.
Man.
Eh,
What a silly outcome.
I can't-
I liked it. I appreciated it.
And my everything else I had was resource. Like
For what it's worth, the other character was a 2 drop, but
Right.
that was enough.
Yep.
Ah.
That was man. I'm going to go so far as to call that our closest game ever.
Well, sure. That was a coin flip game.
It was in the almost about as literal a sense as you can get in this.
Oh goodness, that was a good one. That was a good one to get on video.
So I want to share with you, when it came down to the 50-50 choice, I thought to myself, I think I know what order he put the cards in. So if he orders them from left to right in cost...
Well, to clarify,
Yeah.
whenever I present you with a random card to select,
Right.
I shuffle them under the table.
So maybe you had
So,
shuffled previously.
I did not know.
Okay, that's fair.
which of the cards were which.
fair.
Well, unless I neglected to do it in this case, which is a possibility.
Right. I guess I'm not sure, but I went that
My
far into
intent
the thought
is
process.
when I give you a random choice, I make sure I
Right.
don't know which
Right,
cards
for sure.
they are.
And I have noted you do that in the past. I don't know if you did it this time. If you did it, it would have been off camera anyway, so we'll have no way to verify. But I really thought about that choice in a way that is silly, because I wanted to hedge all the bets. It was funny because there was a lot of uncertainty there, because I'm like, unless you're at +2, and now you were at -2, so that was strange.
That's funny. Oh, man.
And you had the all locked up too.
Which is why I couldn't use Croc's power.
Right,
Because
right.
I put the ongoing in my resource row for the +1
Right.
attack, which mattered.
Yeah, yes it did. Oh my goodness.
Well, we went kind of late on that game. I thought we were going to have a shot to do another, so we will probably call it a little early tonight.
That's all right. I'm pretty beat, but
Yeah,
I will
me
say
too.
this: if you got to go out on an ending
No,
note,
certainly go out on a very strategic coin flip.
I feel like I worked really hard to get to that point.
Me too.
That's fair. I think that'll be an interesting game to watch in the replay. I did some weird stuff.
But again, your deck failed in the way that it has been recently, and so did mine, which is I have either of two really useful 3-drops make that deck much, much worse, and I never get them for some reason. It's a bad deck anyway.
It's terrifying. Those slobber knockers paid their
I'm
dues. Let me
so
tell you.
mad. I'm so mad that with Grudge Match you beat me by 1 twice.
Well, the best part about it was that it was the same character exchange, and both of our characters grew permanently mine by 1 defense because of the counter of an adjacency stun, and yours from an additional ongoing plot twist. So it was like the same exchange, but both our characters crept up by 1.
Well, actually, your character crept up by 2, and I had to use a power up to get the counter step. But I would have, because it would have ended the game.
Right. A very odd game. I mean, if you look at the number of exchanges that came down to like on the dot, there were like
Many.
3 or 4 plays that were the slobber knockers alone that were that, and then both grudge matches defensively were that. It was like 6 or 7.
Your slobber knockers were exact as a couple of times too, which annoyed me. I don't have like surprise defense pumps, but I have things that pump defense in this deck, which are the hidden characters.
Well, they're not surprises.
I didn't have any of them. Son of a gun. Well,
I assure you I was counting on it. I was living on the edge that whole game. I'm like, the one thing that can ruin me is if you have a power-up, and I will lose the game immediately.
Good times. Well, we'll let our viewers go to bed, Chris especially.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. We are going to try to stream, but late next week.
Yeah,
we decided. All right.
Let's
say we'll start at 9:30.
9? Are you going to need food after your thing?
Well, it is all food, so
Okay, so you'll be fed.
yeah.
All right.
Let's
shoot for 9.
So that means you'll have to figure out your way here, which I assume you can do because you do it every other day in the week.
Yep, that's quite so. Your logic is that.
I'll just show up and I'll text you. I'll text you when I'm about to leave. And
All right. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around and watching tonight. We had some interesting cards. Thanks for being a part of it.
Good night, all.